Listen up, because I don't care if this makes you uncomfortable or not. The truth is, relationships are a game, and I'm here to tell you how to win. If you've ever felt lost, confused, or powerless when it comes to controlling women, that ends now. You can either stay in the dark or step up and learn the truth, because what I'm about to share is the raw, unapologetic reality of how the mind works, and how you can take control in ways no one else will tell you. Do you want to keep her obsessed with you? Do you want to make her chase you instead of you always chasing her? Stop wasting time on nice advice that gets you nowhere. We're talking about psychological power here, the kind that goes deep and gives you the upper hand in every interaction. Let's be clear. Women aren't these innocent, fragile creatures everyone tries to paint them as. They have their own tricks, their own strategies, and they use them every single day to get what they want. You think you're playing fair? Guess again, you're in a war. And it's time to arm yourself with knowledge that will flip the script completely. Now, you might be thinking, is this even right? Should I be learning these things? And let me stop you right there. You can worry about right and wrong after you win. Morality is for losers who don't understand the game they're playing. You think the rules are set in stone? The ones who get ahead make their own rules. What I'm about to tell you is how to step into that level of control. This is not about manipulation for the sake of it. It's about staying on top and never being the one left wondering where it all went wrong. This isn't for the faint of heart. This is for those who are done with being nice, done with playing it safe, and are ready to take what they deserve. Ready or not, I'm about to open the door to a world most people are too afraid to even talk about. But once you see it, there's no going back. Are you still with me? Because this is just the beginning. 1. Triggering emotional responses. Why logic doesn't work. Forget about logic when it comes to controlling a woman's mind. You think reason, facts, and arguments are going to win her over? Wrong. Women don't respond to logic like men do. What drives them are their emotions, and that's what you need to control if you want to be in charge. Stop thinking that if you explain things or make sense, she'll understand. No. What works is triggering her emotions and making her feel, not think. Here's the deal. Women are wired to react to feelings. And that's exactly how they control you without you even realizing it. They play on your emotions constantly, acting upset, using guilt, or pretending to be hurt. You've probably experienced this already. One minute she's all sweet, and the next, she's tearing you down over something that doesn't even make sense. You're sitting there confused, trying to figure out what just happened, while she's already taken control of the situation emotionally. But now, it's time to flip the script. You need to learn how to trigger her emotions first. You want to keep her on edge, guessing what's coming next. Logic doesn't create attraction, but unpredictability does. When you can make her feel, whether that's happiness, excitement, jealousy, or fear, you control the dynamic. She'll keep coming back for more because emotions are addictive, and she'll start to associate those highs and lows with you. Want a pro tip? Create emotional spikes. This means pushing her buttons in ways that make her experience intense feelings. One moment you're giving her attention and making her feel special, and the next you're pulling back and being distant. This back and forth creates confusion and makes her seek validation from you. It keeps her emotionally hooked because she'll never be sure what's coming next. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Women have an agenda. They want to control the relationship by keeping you emotionally invested. But when you learn to manipulate her emotions before she can manipulate yours, you've already won. Remember, emotions are the key. Logic gets you nowhere. Once you start playing with her feelings, you'll see how quickly she'll fall in line. Stop wasting time being rational. Take control of the emotional battlefield and you'll never lose again. 2. Using her fears to gain control. You want to control a woman? Tap into her fears. It's the oldest trick in the book, but the one no one talks about because it's too harsh for most people to handle. But guess what? Women have fears, just like anyone else. And when you know what those are, you have the power to use them to your advantage. Most people avoid this topic because it feels too dark. But we're not here to sugarcoat anything. You either control the situation or you get controlled. Here's the reality. Women's fears run deeper than you think. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. These aren't just insecurities. They're weaknesses you can use to stay in control. Once you find out what she's truly afraid of, you can use that knowledge to make her dependent on you, emotionally and mentally. For example, Look at the character of Christian Grey in 50 Shades of Grey. Anastasia Steele is constantly living in the fear of losing him. Why? Because he masterfully plays into her fear of abandonment. He pulls her in, then pushes her away, making her fear that she'll never be enough for him. It's not just his wealth or looks that keep her coming back, it's the emotional roller coaster he puts her through. She's always on edge, wondering if he'll stay or go. And that fear makes her cling to him even more. That's how you gain control, by making her feel like losing you is the worst thing that could happen. Now, am I saying you should go out there and terrorize women? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, you need to understand what motivates her behavior, and fear is a huge part of that. When you subtly use her fears, you're the one who sets the pace of the relationship. Maybe she's afraid of being alone, or maybe it's the fear of being replaced. Whatever it is, once you find that fear, you've got leverage. Bottom line, learn to identify her fears, and you'll have a level of control she won't even see coming. You don't need to play nice, you need to play smart. Fear is a powerful tool, and when used correctly, it keeps her right where you want her. 3. Mastering the push-pull technique to keep her hooked. If you want to keep a woman on edge, always thinking about you, there's one technique that works like magic, the push-pull technique. It's simple but powerful. You give her attention, then pull away. You make her feel special, then suddenly go cold. This constant back and forth creates emotional tension, and trust me, emotional tension is addictive. She'll keep coming back for more because you've created a psychological need for your validation. Let's not beat around the bush. Women thrive on emotional highs and lows. Too much attention and she gets bored. Too little and she feels neglected. But if you mix both, she'll never be able to predict what's coming. And that's exactly what keeps her hooked. The push-pull technique works by creating this perfect balance of giving and withholding, keeping her emotionally invested without realizing what's happening. She'll spend more time wondering what you're thinking instead of focusing on her own wants. Now, if you want a real-life example of push-pull, look no further than the infamous relationship between Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. This relationship was a roller coaster that spanned years. And guess what kept it in the media spotlight? The constant push and pull between the two. Justin would shower Selena with attention, publicly express love, and they'd seem inseparable. That's the push. Then, without warning, he'd pull away, get involved with someone else, or leave her hanging in emotional limbo. That's the pull. This wasn't just media gossip. This was a masterclass in how the push-pull dynamic keeps someone emotionally entangled. Selena herself has spoken about the emotional turmoil, saying it was hard to move on because there was always this lingering sense of, what if? That's the magic of the push-pull technique. It creates uncertainty, a never-ending cycle of hope and doubt. She was constantly trying to figure out where she stood, and that emotional confusion kept her attached long after the relationship should have ended. The push-pull technique created a psychological loop where, no matter what, the connection wasn't fully severed. And that's the key, keeping her hooked even when things seem like they're falling apart. Here's how you can use this technique in your own life. First, start with the push. Give her attention, make her feel like she's the center of your world, compliment her, take her out, make her feel special. Then, when she's at the peak of feeling good, pull back. Be distant, don't reply as fast, or act busy. This sudden change in behavior will throw her off, and she'll start chasing that high again. She'll wonder why you've pulled away and try to get your attention back. That's the emotional tension you need to maintain control. The most important part? Never let her feel too secure. As soon as she feels like she's figured you out, she'll lose interest. Women don't want predictable. They want excitement, even if it's emotionally confusing. That's why the push-pull works. It creates a cycle of emotional highs and lows that keeps her invested in you. Bottom line, don't be the guy who's always there, always easy to read. Be the one who keeps her guessing, keeps her emotionally off balance. That's how you keep her coming back. Just like the world watched Selena and Justin go back and forth for years. You control the rhythm and she'll dance to your tune. 4. How to subtly undermine her confidence. Guys, wake up! You've been doing it wrong for years, and that's why you're constantly losing the upper hand in your relationships. You've been trying to boost her confidence, make her feel like a queen, right? Wrong move! You think by building her up, she's going to be loyal, loving, and never want to leave you? Think again. When you constantly praise her and shower her with validation, what you're really doing is giving away your power. You're setting yourself up to lose the fight before the bell even rings. Think of it like a boxing match. You don't walk into the ring and tell your opponent how great they are, how amazing they punch, or how fast they move. No! You don't boost their confidence. You chip away at it. You make them doubt themselves so that by the time they step into the ring, they're already feeling like they've lost. That's exactly how you need to approach your relationships. If you're constantly praising her, she starts feeling invincible. She thinks she can walk all over you, because why wouldn't she? You've handed her all the confidence she needs to run the show. Here's the hard truth. You need to subtly undermine her confidence. Don't be obvious about it. This isn't about openly insulting her. It's about planting seeds of doubt. Make her question herself just enough so that she seeks your validation. Just like in boxing, it's about finding the weak spot and applying pressure. A slight jab here and there, nothing too aggressive, but enough to throw her off balance. Ever heard of the feint in boxing? It's a move where you pretend to strike just to see how your opponent reacts. You're not going in for the knockout yet. You're just testing their defenses, finding where they're weak. The same goes for this. You don't hit her with criticism all at once. You drop a subtle comment. I don't know, maybe that dress doesn't look as good as the last one. Boom! Confidence shaken, even if just a little. You're not tearing her down, but you're definitely not building her up either. She'll start doubting herself, and that's when you become the source of her validation. And here's the kicker. Once she starts seeking your approval, you're in control. It's like a boxer who's been shaken. Once they lose confidence, they start fighting defensively, and that's when you strike. She'll start looking to you for her confidence, and that's exactly where you want her. So stop making the rookie mistake of overpraising and start fighting smart. You don't win the match by making your opponent stronger. You win by keeping them in check. The same goes for your relationship. Keep her confidence just low enough so she needs you. That's how you stay in control. 5. Isolation. Cutting her off from outside influence. Now, listen closely. This last one requires finesse, and if you overplay it, you'll ruin everything. We're talking about isolation, not locking her in a room or cutting her off from the world in a dramatic way, but subtly removing the outside influences that could break your control. But let me warn you up front, this is not something you want to overdo. If you push too hard, you'll destroy the connection you're trying to build. Let me tell you a story about someone I know. This guy had it all figured out. He was in control, his girl was hooked, and things were going smoothly. But then he started isolating her too much. At first, it was subtle. He'd suggest spending more time together, encourage her to cancel plans with friends to be with him. Harmless, right? But then, he started taking it too far. He'd get jealous of her going out, started making comments about how her friends were a bad influence, or how her family didn't understand their relationship. And guess what? Instead of becoming more attached to him, she felt smothered and started pulling away. You see, isolation is a double-edged sword. When done right, it creates a space where her world revolves around you, with fewer distractions from others who could tell her to think differently. But if you go too far, she'll feel trapped, like she's losing her freedom. And the moment she feels like she's losing herself, she's going to start resenting you. And once resentment sets in, you've already lost. Here's how you do it the right way. Start by becoming the person she trusts the most. Make her feel like you're the only one who truly understands her. Then, when she naturally starts prioritizing you over others, you gently encourage it. Suggest doing things together instead of her spending time with certain friends, but don't criticize her social circle too much. Keep it light and make it feel like she is choosing to isolate herself. That's the key. She needs to feel like it's her decision, not yours. But remember, don't overdo it. You don't want to alienate her completely or make her feel like she's cut off from the world. If you do, she'll start seeing you as the enemy. You're creating a balance where she feels safe with you but isn't being completely isolated from everything else. Do it too harshly, and you'll push her away. So be careful, all right? Isolation can work wonders, but only when handled delicately. Don't make the same mistake my friend did. Learn from it, and make sure you're creating a space where she feels close to you, without making her feel like she's losing everyone else. As the Spanish say, no hay mal que por bien no venga, meaning there's no bad from which good doesn't come. These techniques are not one-size-fits-all. They're tools you can use depending on the problems in your relationship. Everyone's situation is different, and if you reach out with your experience, I'll help you pick the perfect strategy that works for you. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks as always for watching. Until next time, this is Stoic Approach to Life.